What if the pain you have been carrying for so long is not proof that something is wrong with you, but a quiet sign that your heart is asking for love, rest, and healing? What if this moment is not just another moment in your day, but the very moment your spirit has been waiting for? Right now, without needing to force anything, without needing to fix everything, without needing to become someone else, you are being invited into a softer place, a calmer place, a place where you can stop trying so hard for just a little while and simply breathe. A place where you do not have to prove your worth. A place where you do not have to hide your hurt. A place where you can let these words come close and gently remind you that you are still whole, even if you have felt broken, and still worthy, even if life has made you question that truth again and again. There are days when the heart becomes tired in ways the body cannot explain. You keep going, you keep smiling, you keep doing what needs to be done, and yet somewhere deep inside, something feels heavy. Maybe it is old sadness. Maybe it is quiet fear. Maybe it is the pain of not feeling seen, not feeling chosen, not feeling safe, or not feeling like you are enough. Sometimes those feelings do not shout. Sometimes they whisper. They show up in the way you doubt yourself when nobody is looking. They show up in the way you carry guilt that was never meant to stay so long. They show up in the way you feel pressure to be stronger, better, calmer, more healed, more successful, more lovable, more everything. And slowly, without meaning to, you begin to live as though your peace must be earned, as though your worth must be proven, as though your heart must stay guarded until life gives you permission to rest. But this is the truth your soul needs today. You do not need to earn the right to breathe deeply. You do not need to earn the right to slow down. You do not need to earn the right to be held by peace. You do not need to earn the right to heal. The right to heal is already yours. The right to rest is already yours. The right to be loved is already yours. The right to feel safe inside your own heart is already yours. And maybe no one told you that in a way you could truly feel. Maybe you were taught how to survive, but not how to soften. Maybe you were taught how to work hard, but not how to receive. Maybe you were taught how to keep going, but not how to come home to yourself. So let this be the moment that changes something deep within you. Let this be the moment you stop treating peace like a reward and begin to understand it as your natural state. Take a slow breath now, not because you have to do it perfectly, but because your body has been asking for kindness. Let the breath come in gently. Let it go gently. You do not need to control it. You do not need to perform calm. You do not need to pretend you are not tired. Just breathe in the way a weary heart breathes when it finally feels a little safer. Breathe in the way the earth breathes after a storm has passed. Breathe in the way a child rests when they finally know someone is there. Let that breath remind you of something simple and true. You are here. you are still here. After everything, after all the pain, all the questions, all the pressure, all the quiet nights and heavy mornings, you are still here. That matters. That means something. That is not weakness. That is strength wrapped in tenderness. There is a gentle kind of healing that does not arrive with noise. It does not rush in with force. It does not ask you to become perfect by tomorrow. It does not demand that you have all the answers. It enters quietly. It begins when you pause. It begins when you stop fighting your own feelings long enough to listen to them. It begins when you stop speaking to yourself like an enemy. It begins when you let your heart unclench. It begins when you allow one small loving thought to replace one cruel old belief. That is how healing often begins. Not in one huge moment, but in one honest breath, one softer thought, one small opening, one quiet choice to stop abandoning yourself. Maybe you have been carrying emotional wounds for a long time. Maybe they came from words spoken years ago that still live in your mind as if they were said yesterday. Maybe they came from being left out, let down, overlooked, or not protected when you needed care the most. Maybe they came from loss, from disappointment, from rejection, from trying to be who others needed you to be until you forgot how to hear your own inner voice. Emotional wounds do not always leave marks others can see, but they shape the way you move through life. They shape what you expect. They shape what you believe you deserve. They shape how quickly you trust or how quickly you pull away. They shape the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. And if those wounds have been speaking loudly inside you, it makes sense that your heart feels tired. It makes sense that your spirit longs for rest. It makes sense that some part of you is listening right now and hoping these words are true. They are true. You are not too damaged to heal. You are not too far gone to find peace. You are not too late to begin again. You are not too much for love. You are not too weak for healing. You are not behind in your own becoming. The heart has its own timing. Healing has its own rhythm. The soul knows how to move slowly and still move deeply. What looks like stillness from the outside may be sacred work on the inside. What feels like weakness may actually be your spirit asking for a more gentle way to live. What feels like falling apart may be the beginning of release. So if you have been hard on yourself for not being over it yet, for not being stronger by now, for not having healed faster, let that hardness soften here. Let it soften now. You were never meant to heal through pressure. You were never meant to heal through shame. You were never meant to heal by turning against your own heart. There is so much beauty in allowing yourself to be human, in allowing yourself to need rest, in allowing yourself to admit that some things hurt, in allowing yourself to say, "This has been heavy for me," in allowing yourself to feel without judging every feeling, in allowing yourself to receive care without first proving that you deserve it. This kind of softness is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the beginning of true strength. Real strength is not always loud. Sometimes real strength is the quiet decision to stop hurting yourself with old thoughts. Sometimes real strength is choosing not to repeat what pain taught you. Sometimes real strength is placing your hand on your own heart and saying, I will not leave you again. I will not speak to you like that anymore. I will not make you earn love that should have always been yours. Right now, there is nothing you need to solve. There is no one you need to impress. There is no role you need to play. For this moment, let yourself be free from all of that. Let yourself rest inside these words. Let yourself hear them not as pressure, not as instruction, not as something else you have to do right, but as a hand reaching toward you with gentleness. A reminder that peace is not far away. A reminder that your spirit still knows the way back to softness. A reminder that there is something in you deeper than fear, deeper than shame, deeper than all the hard stories you have carried. There is something in you that has never stopped being worthy, never stopped being lovable, never stopped being enough. You may have forgotten that part of yourself for a while. That happens. Life gets loud. Pain gets convincing. Repetition becomes belief. The same old thought repeated enough times starts to feel like truth. The same wound touched often enough starts to feel like identity. But pain is not your identity. Fear is not your identity. The wound is not the self. The sadness is not the soul. There is more to you than what hurt you. There is more to you than what disappointed you. There is more to you than the moments that made you question your worth. Beneath the fear, beneath the ache, beneath the old habits of self-protection, there is still a soft and shining truth. You were never made to live at war with yourself. Imagine what begins to change when you stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and start asking, "What does my heart need right now?" That one question changes everything. It changes the energy of your inner world. It changes the direction of your healing. It changes the way you hold yourself through hard moments. Instead of blame, there is curiosity. Instead of shame, there is care. Instead of punishment, there is compassion. Instead of pressure, there is breath. And from that place, healing has room to enter. Not because you forced it, but because you finally made space for it. So let this be your space. Let this be your pause. Let this be your breath between the life you have been surviving and the life your heart is ready to receive. The world may have taught you to move fast, think fast, fix fast, hide fast, recover fast. But healing does not answer to that kind of rush. Healing listens for softness. Healing opens in safety. Healing grows in the places where love is repeated often enough that the nervous system begins to believe it. Healing takes root when you stop bracing and start allowing. You do not have to know every step ahead. You only need this one breath, this one moment, this one opening, this one simple willingness to let something gentle reach you. Maybe that willingness feels small today. That is enough. Maybe all you can do right now is listen. That is enough. Maybe all you can do is stay here and let these words sit beside your pain without trying to explain it away. That is enough. Healing does not begin when you become perfect. Healing begins when you become willing to hear a new truth, willing to stop repeating the harsh old ones, willing to let peace be possible, willing to believe, even for a moment, that you are not as lost as you have felt, willing to imagine that your heart has not been failing, only carrying too much for too long. The truth is, your heart has been trying to protect you. Even the parts of you that shut down, pull away, overthink, numb out, or expect disappointment were trying in their own way to keep you safe. Those parts are not bad. They are tired. They are scared. They learned to survive in a world that did not always feel gentle. So do not hate those parts. Do not shame them. Love them into softness. Love them into safety. Love them until they no longer have to stay on guard. That is a holy kind of healing. That is what begins when you stop fighting yourself and start listening with kindness. There is a peace available to you that does not depend on having everything figured out. There is a softness available to you that does not require the whole world to become gentle first. There is a way of being with yourself that brings relief before anything outside changes. It begins here, in this quiet, in this breath, in this moment where you let yourself be enough before the healing is complete, enough before the answers are clear, enough before the future is settled. Enough now, enough here, enough as you are. And maybe those words feel hard to fully accept. Maybe some old part of you wants to argue. Maybe some part of you says, but you do not know what I have done, what I have lost, how much I have failed, how deeply I have doubted myself, how often I have broken my own heart. Still, even then, you are enough. Not because your pain did not happen, not because your mistakes did not matter, but because your worth was never created by perfection and it was never destroyed by pain. Your worth is deeper than your worst day. Your worth is older than your fear. Your worth exists beneath every wound, beneath every regret, beneath every story that ever told you that you had to be more to deserve love. So stay with that truth a little longer. Let it sit with you. Let it breathe inside you. Let it land where it can. You are enough. Even now, even here, even while healing, even while learning, even while still carrying tenderness that has not fully become peace. You are enough. And the more often you hear that truth with an open heart, the more your inner world begins to change. The more your body begins to soften. The more your breath begins to deepen. The more the old walls begin to loosen. The more your spirit remembers what it has always known. This is not the end of your healing. It is not meant to be. It is a beginning, a soft beginning, a sacred beginning. A beginning rooted not in pressure, but in permission. Permission to rest, permission to receive, permission to stop speaking to yourself in the language of fear, permission to come back to yourself with gentleness, permission to let your healing begin not with force, but with love. You are enough right now, not later, not after you fix everything, not after you become calmer, thinner, stronger, wiser, more successful, more healed, more accepted, more admired, or more anything. Right now, in this very breath, in this very season of your life, in this very version of yourself, you are enough. These words may sound simple, but for many hearts, they are some of the hardest words to truly let in. Because so many people have spent years, sometimes whole lifetimes, believing the opposite. Believing they must become more before they can rest. Believing they must improve before they can be loved. Believing they must prove something before they can belong. Believing they must hide their broken places before they can be seen as worthy. And slowly, without even noticing, they begin living as though their value is always somewhere in the future, somewhere just out of reach, somewhere waiting on the other side of perfection. But your worth does not live in the future. Your worth is not waiting for you there. It is here. It is present. It is alive in you now. The moment you were born, worth came with you. Love came with you. Value came with you. You did not have to earn them then, and you do not have to earn them now. The world may have added conditions. Pain may have added fear. Experience may have added doubt. But none of those things changed the truth. They only covered it. They only made it harder to feel. They only made it easier to forget. Yet forgotten truth is still truth. Covered light is still light. Hidden worth is still worth. And your heart needs to hear that again and again until it begins to feel real in the places where shame used to live. Think of how many times you may have quietly moved the line. You told yourself, I will feel enough when this happens. I will rest when I finish this. I will love myself when I improve that. I will feel worthy when others finally see me the way I want to be seen. I will be at peace when I stop making mistakes. I will accept myself when I heal all the way. But every time you move the line, peace moves farther away. Every time you tie your worth to conditions, your heart learns to live in tension. Every time you decide you are almost enough, but not yet, you teach yourself to keep love at a distance. And the tragedy of that is not just that it hurts. It is that it keeps you from receiving the tenderness that could help you heal. When a heart believes it is not enough, it becomes tired in special ways. It overworks because it hopes effort will create worth. It overthinks because it fears one wrong move will prove its worst beliefs. It people pleases because it wants to secure love before it disappears. It compares because it assumes someone else has the key to a value it cannot yet find within. It hides because it believes being fully seen may lead to rejection. It stays hard because softness feels dangerous when worth feels uncertain. This is why the belief that you are not enough is not a small thing. It shapes how you walk through the world. It shapes how you breathe, how you speak, how you receive care, how you hold silence, how you react to mistakes, how much joy you allow, and how much peace you think you deserve. And still, no matter how strong that old belief has become, it is not the truth. It is a wound speaking. It is fear repeating itself. It is pain trying to protect you by keeping you on alert. It is not the deepest reality of who you are. The deepest reality is softer and stronger than that. The deepest reality is that you are enough before you achieve, enough before you heal fully, enough before you are understood by everyone, enough before your life becomes easier, enough before your heart stops hurting, enough while learning, enough while resting, enough while beginning again, enough while still carrying questions, enough while still finding your way. There is such freedom in this truth when you let it enter your life. Because if you are enough right now, then peace is not something you have to chase. If you are enough right now, then love is not something you have to trick into staying. If you are enough right now, then healing does not begin with self-rejection. If you are enough right now, then your mistakes do not remove your worth. If you are enough right now, then this moment becomes holy. This breath becomes enough. This version of you becomes worthy of compassion. This life becomes something you can meet with more gentleness and less war. Maybe part of you still wants roof. Maybe part of you says, how can that be true when I still have pain? How can that be true when I still carry fear? How can that be true when I still struggle with the same thoughts, the same habits, the same sadness, the same old patterns? But pain does not cancel worth. Struggle does not cancel worth. Growth does not cancel worth. Healing in progress does not cancel worth. The flower is not worthless before it blooms. The sky is not less sky on cloudy days. The ocean is not less ocean when it is stormy. And you are not less worthy because you are still becoming. Becoming does not mean you are lacking. Becoming is what life does. Growth is what living does. Change is what a soul does when it is learning how to return to itself. What if you stopped using your unfinished places as proof that you are failing? What if you stopped measuring your value by your mood, your mistakes, your speed, your productivity, your approval from others, or your ability to always hold everything together? What if enoughness was not something fragile that could be lost every time life got hard? What if enoughness was your ground, not your reward? What if it stayed with you through the tears, through the doubt, through the healing, through the setbacks, through the silence, through the rebuilding? Because that is the kind of enoughness that sets the heart free. Not fake confidence, not pride, not pretending, just a deep and steady knowing that says, I am still worthy here. I am still lovable here. I am still allowed to breathe deeply here. When you begin to live from that place, everything changes in quiet but powerful ways. You stop begging the world to tell you who you are. You stop asking pain to define you. You stop measuring your heart against impossible standards. You stop believing that one hard season means you are a failure. You stop making every flaw into a final statement about your value. You begin to treat yourself more like someone worth caring for. You begin to speak more gently inside your own mind. You begin to notice how often you were carrying the false burden of having to become worthy instead of simply remembering that you already are. So many emotional wounds grow in the gap between who you are and who you think you must be in order to deserve love. That gap becomes a painful place. It becomes the place where shame lives. It becomes the place where pressure lives. It becomes the place where self-criticism grows roots. It becomes the place where peace feels far away. But when you begin to close that gap with acceptance, with truth, with kindness, something beautiful happens. The wound loses some of its power. The nervous system softens. The mind breathes. The heart opens just a little more, because the body feels the difference between being judged and being loved. Your whole being responds when you stop standing over yourself with harshness and start standing beside yourself with compassion. You do not need to become someone else to deserve your own care. That is such an important truth. You do not need to become calmer before you offer yourself softness. You do not need to become wiser before you offer yourself patience. You do not need to become fully healed before you offer yourself love. You do not need to become perfect before you stop hurting yourself with impossible standards. Love is not the prize at the end of growth. Love is the ground growth needs. Acceptance is not what you give yourself after transformation. Acceptance is what makes transformation safe enough to begin. Maybe you have spent a long time trying to motivate yourself through criticism. Maybe you thought being hard on yourself would make you better, make you stronger, make you less likely to fail. Maybe you learned that praise was rare and pressure was normal. Maybe you thought harshness was the only way to keep going. But harshness never truly heals the heart. It may push, it may pressure, it may exhaust, but it does not heal. Healing happens when the heart no longer has to prove it deserves tenderness. Healing happens when the body no longer expects love to come with conditions. Healing happens when you begin to say to yourself, even now, even here, I am enough to be treated with gentleness. And enough does not mean done growing. Enough does not mean without faults. Enough does not mean you never need to apologize, change, learn, or heal. Enough simply means your value is not erased by the fact that you are human. Enough means your worth is not hanging by a thread every time you make a mistake. Enough means your soul remains precious even in seasons of confusion. Enough means your existence is not a problem to solve. Enough means you are allowed to belong to yourself before the world gives you permission. Enough means you can look at your tender places and still say, I will not abandon you. There is a quiet sacredness in deciding to believe this, even before the evidence feels complete. In choosing this truth while your old wounds still speak. In repeating it while your inner critic still complains. In holding on to it when comparison tries to steal it. In returning to it when shame tries to cover it. That is brave. That is healing. That is the beginning of a new relationship with yourself. One built not on fear, but on truth. One built not on pressure, but on presence. One built not on proving, but on remembering. You may need to hear it many times. That is all right. The mind learns through repetition. The heart softens through repetition. The body begins to trust through repetition. If painful words were repeated enough to shape your self-image, then loving words can be repeated enough to restore it. If you learn to doubt yourself through repetition, you can learn to trust yourself through repetition. If you learn to question your worth through repetition, you can learn to rest in your worth through repetition. So let the truth come again. You are enough right now, not almost enough, not nearly enough, not enough only on good days, enough now, enough today, enough in this breath, enough in this body, enough in this chapter, enough as you are. Let those words meet the places in you that see till feel small. Let them reach the part of you that still believes love must be earned. Let them reach the part of you that still becomes afraid when things are quiet. Let them reach the part of you that thinks mistakes make you less lovable. Let them reach the part of you that still scans the world for reasons to feel unworthy. Let them reach the part of you that got tired of trying so hard to be enough for everyone. Let them reach the part of you that has been hungry for tenderness for longer than you can explain. Let them reach the part of you that wonders if peace is really possible. Let them reach the heart that still hopes. There is no shame in needing to hear it again. There is no shame in needing your worth repeated gently. There is no shame in returning to the same truth until your whole being can hold it. That is not weakness. That is repair. That is how wounded things heal. They heal through patient care. They heal through safety. They heal through consistent love. They heal when someone says the truth enough times that the fear begins to loosen. Let that someone be you now. Let your own inner voice become a place where truth lives. A place where worth is not always up for debate. A place where your heart can rest instead of defend itself. And as you begin to accept this more deeply, notice what starts to change. The breath softens, the shoulders lower, the mind becomes less cruel. The pressure lifts just enough for peace to enter. The need to prove begins to loosen. You stop chasing impossible versions of yourself and start caring for the real one. You begin to live from presence instead of performance. You begin to stand on the ground of enoughness instead of constantly reaching for it. You begin to understand that you do not become more worthy by exhausting yourself. You become more whole by remembering the truth that was already there. So hold it again, gently and clearly. You are enough right now. Not because life is perfect, not because your healing is complete, not because everyone understands you, not because you have done everything right. You are enough because worth is your nature, not your reward. You are enough because your heart matters. You are enough because your existence carries value beyond measure. You are enough because no pain has the authority to define your deepest truth. You are enough because love does not begin at perfection. It begins here. And if all you do today is let that truth stay with you for one more breath, that is enough too. Old pain has a strange way of staying close. Even when the moment is over, even when the years have passed, even when life looks different on the outside, the feeling can still remain inside like an echo. A word someone said long ago, a silence that should have been comfort, a door that closed, a love that did not stay, a childhood moment when you felt unseen, a season when you had to be strong before you were ready, a time when you reached for care and met rejection instead. These things do not always disappear just because time moves forward. Sometimes they settle into the body. Sometimes they shape the heart. Sometimes they become the quiet voice inside your mind that speaks before you even notice it is there. And if that voice has been speaking through fear, shame, or self-judgment, it makes sense that your spirit has felt tired. Pain that is not understood often becomes judgment. Hurt that is not held often becomes hardness. Wounds that are not met with compassion often become beliefs. And those beliefs can stay for years. They can sound like, I am too much, I am not enough, I always ruin things, I should be over this by now, I cannot trust anyone, I cannot trust myself, I should have known better, I should have done more, I should have been stronger, I should not still be hurting. Those are not small thoughts. Those thoughts shape the atmosphere inside a person. They affect the nervous system. They affect the body. They affect how love is received and how peace is allowed. They become the air you breathe inside your own inner world. And if that air has been filled with self-blame for too long, it can begin to feel normal even when it is hurting you. Many people do not even realize how much self-judgment they carry. It becomes so familiar that it sounds like common sense. It sounds like realism. It sounds like discipline. It sounds like being responsible. But often it is just pain wearing a different voice. It is the wound trying to stay in control by becoming your inner critic. It is fear pretending to be wisdom. It is shame repeating itself so often that it begins to sound like truth. And because it has been there so long, you may have stopped questioning it. You may have stopped noticing how quickly you blame yourself, how quickly you call yourself weak, foolish, slow, difficult, broken, too emotional, too sensitive, too needy, too late, too damaged. You may not even remember when those words began, but your body remembers how they feel. There is a difference between honest reflection and cruel self-judgment. Reflection says, I want to understand what happened. Judgment says, I am what happened. Reflection says, I made a mistake. Judgment says, I am a mistake. Reflection opens the door to healing. Judgment closes it. Reflection is rooted in truth and care. Judgment is rooted in shame and fear. Reflection helps you grow. Judgment keeps you small. If you have been carrying old pain for a long time, there is a good chance you also learn to carry a version of yourself that is always under attack, always under review, always being measured, always being corrected, always being found lacking. That is an exhausting way to live. No heart can thrive under that kind of constant inner pressure. So let this be the place where you begin to notice it. Not to shame yourself for having self-judgment. Not to become hard on yourself for being hard on yourself. But to notice it with tenderness. To recognize that this voice did not appear from nowhere. It grew from pain. It grew from fear. It grew from wounds that were never meant to become your identity. And because it was learned, it can be unlearned. Because it was repeated, it can be replaced. Because it is not your deepest truth, it can lose its power. Old pain often teaches a person to protect themselves by expecting the worst. If I judge myself first, maybe rejection will hurt less. If I stay hard on myself, maybe I can avoid failure. If I keep pushing, maybe I can outrun the feeling of not being enough. If I do not relax, maybe I will stay safe. These patterns make sense when you see where they come from. They are not random. They are survival. But survival is not the same as peace. The habit that once helped you protect yourself may now be the very thing keeping your heart from rest. And part of healing is learning to thank those old patterns for trying to help, and then gently releasing them because they are no longer needed in the same way. Maybe your old pain lives in memories you still replay. Maybe it lives in moments you wish had gone differently. Maybe it lives in regret. Maybe it lives in betrayal. Maybe it lives in words you swallowed because you were not safe enough to speak them. Maybe it lives in grief for what never happened, what never arrived, what was never said, what was never repaired. Emotional wounds are not always only about what did happen. Sometimes they are about what did not happen. The love that did not stay, the support that did not come, the apology that never arrived, the safety that should have been there, the softness you needed and never received. That absence can hurt just as deeply as any event. And when a heart carries too many absences, it may begin to blame itself for what it lacked. But hear this clearly. Not receiving what you needed does not mean you were too much to love. Being wounded does not mean you were weak. Being left does not mean you were not enough. Being misunderstood does not mean your heart was wrong. The fact that others failed to love you well does not become proof that you were unlovable. The fact that life hurt you does not become proof that you deserved the pain. The wound may have said that. The shame may have repeated that. But it is not the truth. Still, emotional pain can become very personal. It can turn inward. Instead of saying, "That hurt me," the mind begins saying, "There must be something wrong with me." Instead of saying, "I needed care," the mind says, "I was too needy." Instead of saying, "That was unfair," the mind says, "I should have handled it better." Instead of saying, "I was overwhelmed," the mind says, "I am weak." This is how self-judgment grows. It grows when pain is turned into identity. It grows when the heart is not allowed to simply hurt, but is forced to explain its hurt by attacking itself. And over time, that attack becomes automatic. The sad thing about self-judgment is that it promises safety, but creates suffering. It tells you that if you are hard enough on yourself, you will avoid future pain. But what it really does is keep the wound open. It keeps the body tense. It keeps the nervous system alert. It keeps love from fully entering, because love feels unfamiliar in a place built around criticism. It keeps joy at a distance, because joy often cannot stay where every mistake becomes a reason for punishment. It keeps peace feeling suspicious because the heart has been trained to expect pressure instead. What would happen if you stopped agreeing with every cruel thought that passes through your mind? What would happen if you heard the old voice of judgment and quietly answered, "No, that is pain speaking, not truth"? What would happen if you interrupted the old pattern right at the point where it usually takes over? If you caught yourself saying, "I always mess things up," and replaced it with, "I am learning." If you caught yourself saying, "I should be over this," and replaced it with, "Healing takes time." If you caught yourself saying, "I am too broken," and replaced it with, "I am still healing and I am still worthy." These are not small changes. They are the beginning of freedom. Releasing old pain does not mean pretending it never mattered. It does not mean forcing yourself to move on before your heart is ready. It does not mean making your story smaller so others can feel more comfortable with it. Releasing old pain means you stop building your identity around it. You stop feeding it with the same old thoughts. You stop using it as proof against your own worth. You stop carrying it in the same way. You stop letting it define the whole room when it is only one part of your story. You begin to hold it with compassion instead of shame. You begin to say, yes, this hurt me, but it is not all of me. Yes, this marked me, but it does not get the final word. Yes, this shaped me, but it does not define my deepest truth. Some wounds need tears. Some wounds need silence. Some wounds need time. Some wounds need truth spoken gently again and again. Some wounds need the body to feel safe before the heart can soften. Some wounds need forgiveness, not always of others, but often of self. Forgiveness for not knowing then what you know now. Forgiveness for how you coped. Forgiveness for how long you stayed. Forgiveness for what you tolerated while trying to survive. Forgiveness for the times you betrayed your own needs because you were afraid of losing love. Forgiveness for being human in places where you only knew how to protect yourself. Forgiveness is not saying the pain did not matter. It is saying the pain will not own you forever. And self-forgiveness is one of the most tender forms of healing. It says, I will stop dragging yesterday through every room of my life. I will stop using old moments as weapons against myself. I will stop turning my past into proof that I do not deserve peace. I will stop calling myself names for the ways I survived. I will stop demanding perfection from a heart that was doing its best with what it knew. I will begin again. Not because the past was light, but because I do not want to keep living under its full weight. That is not denial. That is wisdom. Perhaps one of the most healing things you can do is learn to separate the wound from the self. The wound says, I am not enough. The self says, I am hurting. The wound says, I always fail. The self says, I am learning. The wound says, nobody stays. The self says, and I long to feel safe. The wound says, I am too much. The self says, I need tenderness. This change matters. It changes the whole direction of your inner life. It takes you from judgment to understanding, from attack to care, from shame to healing. It lets you see that beneath every harsh thought, there may be an unmet need asking to be heard. So if old pain rises in you, meet it gently. If self-judgment appears, do not let it become law. Let it be noticed but not obeyed. Let it be heard but not trusted blindly. Let it pass through without building a home in your heart. And where the old voice says, be harder, answer with softness. Where it says, hurry up, answer with patience. Where it says, "You should have known better," answer with compassion. Where it says, "You are too damaged," answer with truth. I am healing. I am learning. I am still worthy of love. You may need to do this many times. That is all right. The old path was walked for a long time. The new path becomes stronger with repetition. Every time you choose kindness over cruelty, the heart learns something new. Every time you choose truth over shame, the nervous system learns something new. Every time you stop a harsh thought from becoming a full story, your inner world becomes a little safer. Every time you refuse to turn pain into identity, you reclaim a piece of yourself. That is how release happens. Not always in one moment, but in many loving choices. And there is something else worth remembering. You do not have to carry every pain forever just because it has been with you a long time. Familiar is not the same as sacred. Long carried is not the same as meant to stay. Some of what you carry is not yours anymore. Some of it belongs to old fear. Some of it belongs to old versions of you who only knew survival. Some of it belongs to voices that were never wise enough to name your worth. Some of it belongs to moments that passed but still linger because they were never met with enough tenderness. You are allowed to set those burdens down. You are allowed to stop calling them home. Even now you can begin, not by forcing release, but by loosening your grip, not by pretending the pain never mattered, but by deciding it will not keep defining your value, not by becoming someone new overnight, but by becoming gentler with the self who is here now. You can begin by noticing one harsh thought and choosing not to build a house around it. You can begin by speaking one kind sentence where you once spoke 10 cruel ones. You can begin by breathing before you blame yourself. You can begin by remembering that wounds need care, not punishment. And if your heart feels tender hearing this, let it. Tenderness is not weakness. It is often the first sign that something frozen is beginning to thaw. Something guarded is beginning to trust. Something exhausted is beginning to hope. Old pain does not leave all at once, but it does begin to soften when it is finally met with love instead of fear. Self-judgment does not disappear in a day, but it loses power each time you refuse it to make it your master. You are not trapped in old pain forever. You are not sentenced to carry shame until the end of your days. You are allowed to live in a lighter way. You are allowed to be free from some of the heaviness. You are allowed to release what no longer needs to define you. So breathe again. Let the breath come softly. Let it remind you that this moment is not asking you to solve your whole life. It is only asking you to be gentle enough to stop hurting yourself for what already hurt. It is only asking you to stop making your wound prove something untrue about your worth. It is only asking you to begin to see yourself with softer eyes, to hold your own heart with kinder hands, to let the old pain be real without letting it become your identity. To let self-judgment loosen its grip. To let a new voice begin. A voice that says, I am allowed to heal. A voice that says, I do not need to punish myself to grow. A voice that says, my pain is real, but it is not all I am. A voice that says, I can release what no longer serves me. A voice that says, I am still worthy of peace. A voice that says, I am enough, even here. Healing begins to move more freely when you stop treating yourself like a problem that must be fixed and start treating yourself like someone who needs care. This change may sound small, but it changes everything. Many people think healing comes from pushing harder, judging themselves more, staying strict, staying guarded, or demanding faster progress. They think that if they are hard enough on themselves, they will become stronger. If they criticize themselves enough, they will improve. If they keep pressure on their heart, they will somehow heal faster. But the heart does not open through pressure. The heart opens through safety. The mind does not become clear through shame. It becomes clear through gentleness. The body does not relax because it is forced. It relaxes when it finally believes it is safe enough to rest. Self-kindness is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not making excuses. It is not pretending that pain does not exist. Self-kindness is the choice to stop adding extra pain to the pain that is already there. It is the choice to stop making a hard day harder by attacking yourself for having one. It is the choice to stop standing over your own heart with a harsh voice and impossible rules. It is the choice to say, this hurts, and I will not make it worse by turning against myself. That is strength. That is wisdom. That is where real healing begins. For many people, self-kindness feels strange at first. It may feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, or even wrong. That is often because they have lived so long under the weight of self-judgment that softness feels unsafe. They may have learned that love comes after achievement, after sacrifice, after perfect behavior, after silence, after pleasing others, after being useful, after being strong. So when kindness appears without condition, some part of them does not know what to do with it. Some part of them, it's for the catch. Some part of them wonders if it is deserved. Some part of them pulls away. But kindness does not ask whether you have earned it. Kindness sees your tiredness and comes close anyway. Kindness sees your fear and stays gentle anyway. Kindness sees the wound and does not make it your fault. Think about the way you would speak to someone you love if they came to you with a hurting heart. You would not likely say, hurry up and get over it. You would not likely say, you are weak for still feeling this. You would not likely say, why are you not better by now? You would not likely tell them that their pain makes them less worthy of care. You would soften your voice. You would make room for their feelings. You would remind them that healing takes time. You would tell them they are not alone. You would tell them they are still worthy of love. You would sit beside them instead of standing above them. That is the energy self-kindness brings inward. It says, I will sit beside my own heart now. I will stop speaking to myself in a voice I would never use with someone I love. I will become a safe place for my own healing. This does not mean every day becomes easy. It does not mean pain disappears at once. It does not mean you never feel sadness, fear, or doubt again. What it means is that those feelings no longer meet cruelty when they arrive. They meet presence. They meet patience. They meet breath. They meet a softer way of being. And that softer way changes the inner climate. It changes how long pain stays sharp. It changes how deeply shame can root itself. It changes the way the body holds stress. It changes how the mind speaks when things go wrong. Self-kindness does not remove every storm, but it keeps you from becoming the storm against yourself. There are many ways self-kindness can begin. Sometimes it begins with a pause. A pause before the old harsh thought takes over. A pause before blame becomes a full story. A pause before you say something cruel to yourself out of habit. In that pause, there is power. In that pause, you can choose again. You can replace, I always ruin everything, with I am learning. You can replace, I should be stronger, with I am doing my best. You can replace, what is wrong with me, with what do I need right now? You can replace, I am failing, with I am still growing. These are not small changes. They are the language of healing. They are the beginning of a new inner life. Sometimes self-kindness begins in the body. It begins when you notice how tightly you are holding yourself. The jaw clenched, the shoulders lifted, the breath shallow, the stomach tense, the chest heavy. These are often signs that the body has been living in protection for too long, and the body listens to how you treat it. When you rush it, shame it, ignore it, or expect it to carry more than it can hold, it learns to stay alert. But when you slow down, breathe, rest, and speak softly to yourself, the body starts to believe in safety again. It starts to release what it has been holding. It starts to trust the moment a little more. Healing often enters there first, not through a great answer, but through a nervous system that finally gets permission to soften. You may have spent years believing that being hard on yourself was the only way to keep moving. Maybe kindness seemed too soft for a world that felt demanding. Maybe gentleness felt risky because life did not always treat you gently. Maybe you learned to survive by staying on guard. That makes sense. But surviving and healing are not always the same. The voice that helped you survive one season may not be the voice that can carry you into peace. The part of you that learned to push through everything may now need to learn how to rest. The part of you that learned to expect harshness may now need repeated proof that care can stay. Self-kindness gives that proof, not once, but over and over until the heart begins to believe it. There is something very sacred about the moment you stop asking yourself to heal on someone else's terms. Some people heal loudly, some heal quietly, some move quickly, some move slowly, some need tears, some need silence, some need rest, some need long seasons of inner work that no one else can see. You do not need to fit your healing into a shape that looks right from the outside. You do not need to rush because others seem ahead. You do not need to act healed when you are still tender. Self-kindness allows your healing to have its own rhythm. It says, I will not rush what needs tenderness. I will not force what needs time. I will not compare my heart to anyone else's. I will honor the pace that is true for me. And there is another truth hidden inside self-kindness. It is this: the way you speak to yourself becomes the space you live in. If your inner words are harsh, then even peaceful moments feel tense. If your inner words are cruel, then even good things are hard to receive. If your inner words are always measuring, correcting, and criticizing, then the heart never fully rests. But when your inner words begin to soften, the whole inside of life changes. The same world may still be around you, but you begin to experience it differently. A mistake no longer becomes proof of failure. A hard day no longer becomes proof that nothing is working. A feeling no longer becomes something to fear. You become less afraid of yourself. And that is one of the most healing gifts you can give your own spirit. Self-kindness also teaches you to stop confusing pain with identity. Instead of saying, I am broken, you begin to say, I am hurting. Instead of saying, I am weak, you begin to say, I am tired. Instead of saying, I am too much, you begin to say, I have carried a lot. Instead of saying, I am not enough, you begin to say, I need tenderness. This language matters. The heart hears it. The body hears it. The soul hears it. And when that language changes, something deep begins to loosen. The old shame loses some of its power. The old fear no longer gets the final word. The old wound is no longer allowed to define the whole self. Some of the deepest healing happens in ordinary moments, not always in dramatic breakthroughs, but in small choices made again and again. Drinking water when you are overwhelmed. Lying down when your body asks for rest. Saying no when your spirit needs space. Stepping outside and breathing fresh air when your thoughts feel crowded. Putting your hand over your heart when emotions rise. Letting yourself cry without calling it weakness. Speaking one kind sentence to yourself in the middle of a difficult day. Choosing not to repeat one cruel old thought. These moments may look small, but they are not small to the nervous system. They are messages. They say, "You matter. You are safe with me. I am listening. I am not leaving you." That is what self-kindness really is. It is not a mood. It is not a reward. It is a relationship. A relationship with yourself built on care instead of criticism, presence instead of pressure, patience instead of punishment. It does not mean you never challenge yourself. It means your challenge is not rooted in hate. It means growth is not built on shame. It means change comes from love, not from trying to escape yourself. That kind of love transforms everything it touches. It makes healing safer. It makes rest possible. It makes truth easier to hear. It makes emotional wounds less lonely. Maybe no one taught you how to be kind to yourself. Maybe you were shown how to achieve, how to endure, how to stay useful, how to stay silent, how to keep going. But if kindness was not modeled for you, that does not mean it cannot be learned now. You can learn it here. You can learn it slowly. You can learn it one breath at a time, one thought at a time, one choice at a time. The heart is teachable. The body is teachable. The mind can learn a new way. And every time you choose a softer response, you are teaching your whole being that healing does not have to hurt to be real. So when the next hard moment comes, do not ask first how to fix it. Ask how to hold yourself through it. When the next wave of emotion rises, do not ask first how to get rid of it. Ask how to meet it with care. When the next old belief appears, do not ask first why you are still struggling. Ask what loving truth needs to replace it. This is how self-kindness becomes a path. This is how peace begins to enter not as an idea, but as a practice, a living practice, a daily practice, a sacred practice of no longer abandoning yourself when pain comes near. And maybe the most beautiful thing about self-kindness is that it makes room for healing without making healing another burden. It does not say, "Now you must become perfect at being gentle." It does not say, "Now you must never have another harsh thought." It simply invites. It says, begin here. Begin with one softer breath. Begin with one kinder sentence. Begin with one moment of not turning against yourself. Begin with one act of rest. Begin with one pause before blame. Begin with one choice to stay close to your own heart. That is enough. That is where healing starts. There is a softer way to see your life. And when you begin to see through that softer lens, the heart stops feeling so alone. The spiritual path is not about pretending pain is not real. It is not about acting happy when you are hurting. It is not about denying grief, fear, confusion, or loss. It is about learning to hold all of that inside a bigger truth. A truth that says, your pain is not the whole story. A truth that says life is still moving even when you cannot see the full picture. A truth that says your soul is still growing, even in the seasons that feel quiet, heavy, or unclear. Sometimes the deepest healing begins when you stop asking, why is this happening against me? And start asking, what is life trying to grow within me through this moment? So much of emotional suffering becomes heavier when it feels meaningless. When something hurts and you cannot understand it, the mind becomes restless. It wants answers. It wants reasons. It wants control. It wants to know when the pain will end and why it had to happen at all. But spiritual healing often begins with a different kind of knowing. Not always an answer, but a trust. Not always a clear explanation, but a deeper sense that even this moment can become part of your unfolding. Even this can teach. Even this can soften something old. Even this can open a door inside you that comfort never could. This does not make the pain good. It does not make the loss easy. It does not make the wound less real. But it gives the wound a wider sky to live under. There are seasons in life when nothing seems to make sense. Plans fall apart. People change. Doors close. You feel delayed, overlooked, uncertain, or lost. And in those seasons, it is easy to believe that life has turned away from you. It is easy to believe that you are being punished, forgotten, or left behind. But what if life is not against you in those moments? What if something quieter is happening? What if the pause is not empty? What if the delay is not rejection? What if the closed door is not failure? What if something is being protected, shifted, prepared, or rearranged beyond what you can see right now? Spiritual peace often begins when you allow the mystery to be gentle instead of cruel. The soul does not grow only through bright, easy seasons. The soul also grows in waiting. It grows in stillness. It grows in uncertainty. It grows when old ways no longer fit and new ways have not fully arrived. It grows when you are asked to release what you cannot carry into the next chapter. It grows when you are asked to trust what you cannot yet touch. It grows when the outside world slows down enough for the inside world to be heard. Some of your deepest growth may have happened in seasons that felt like setbacks. Some of your deepest wisdom may have come from moments you would never have chosen. Some of your deepest compassion may have been born from your own breaking open. This is not because suffering is the goal. It is because the soul has a way of making sacred use of what life brings. There is peace in remembering that your life is more than one moment, more than one wound, more than one chapter, more than one hard year. The heart often wants to decide everything from where it stands right now. If this hurts, then it must all be wrong. If this is slow, then I must be behind. If this is uncertain, then I must be lost. But the spiritual view steps back. It breathes. It widens. It says, perhaps I do not see everything yet. Perhaps this chapter is not the whole book. Perhaps what feels unfinished is still unfolding. Perhaps what feels hidden is still becoming. Perhaps what feels like silence is still sacred. Think of how nature moves. Nothing in nature rushes in the way people often rush themselves. The seed does not hate the dark soil. The dawn does not fear the night before it. The tree does not compare its timing to the flower. The river does not demand to see the whole path before it flows. There is a quiet trust in nature, a rhythm, a surrender, a way of becoming without panic. And you are part of that same life. You are not separate from that wisdom. Your heart also has seasons. Your healing also has timing. Your spirit also unfolds in ways that are not always visible at first. Just because something is not blooming yet does not mean nothing is happening. This spiritual reframe is simple but powerful. Life is still with you, even now, even here, even in confusion, even in heartbreak, even in healing. Life has not stepped away from you. Love has not disappeared from your path. Meaning has not left the room. The deeper current is still there beneath the surface. Sometimes you feel it clearly. Sometimes you do not. But it remains. And when you remember that, the mind relaxes its need to force every answer. The heart softens its grip on fear. The body begins to breathe with a little more trust. It can help to remember that not every ending is a punishment. Not every detour is a mistake. Not every delay is a denial. Some endings make room. Some detours protect. Some delays prepare. Sometimes the thing that did not work out is the very thing that kept you from a life too small for your soul. Sometimes what falls away is not a sign of failure, but a sign that you are being asked into deeper alignment. Sometimes the life you were trying to build cannot hold the person you are becoming. And while that can feel painful in the moment, it does not mean you are lost. It may mean you are being led through a change your mind has not yet learned to trust. Spiritual trust does not require perfect certainty. It only asks for willingness. Willingness to believe that your life has meaning even when the path is not clear. Willingness to believe that healing can be happening beneath the surface. Willingness to believe that not everything must be understood right now to still be leading somewhere good. Willingness to believe that your soul is not broken just because it is tender. Willingness to believe that your present moment can still hold grace, even if it also holds pain. This kind of willingness is enough to open the heart. It is enough to shift the energy inside you from panic to prayer, from fear to trust, from control to surrender. And surrender in this sense is not weakness. It is not giving up on your life. It is not becoming passive. It is releasing the idea that you must control every piece of the path in order to be safe. It is saying, I do not see everything, but I choose not to fight life with fear. I do not know every answer, but I choose to stay open. I cannot force the whole journey, but I can soften into this step. Spiritual surrender is a partnership with life. It is the moment you stop dragging your soul through constant pressure and let yourself be carried by something wiser than panic. When you live this way, even the hard moments begin to feel different. Not always easy, but held. Not always clear, but meaningful. You begin to look for what is being invited instead of only what is being taken away. You begin to notice quiet support, a sudden moment of calm, a kind word at the right time, a thought that brings comfort, a little more space inside your chest, a little less fear than before, a little more strength than you knew was there. These may seem small, but spiritually they are not small. They are reminders. They are signs of life moving with you. They are moments of grace entering through the places that have begun to soften. The spiritual path also reminds you that you are more than your thoughts, more than your current emotion, more than this hard day. There is something deeper in you than the momentary storm. Call it soul, call it spirit, call it inner light, call it the quiet place within that still knows peace. That place is still there, even when the surface feels troubled. That place does not disappear every time you feel anxious or sad. It remains. And the more often you return to it, even for one breath, the more real it becomes in your daily life. Spiritual healing is often less about finding something outside you and more about remembering what has always been present within you. Maybe your mind has been trained to look for danger first. Maybe your heart has been trained to expect loss. Maybe your body has been trained to brace against disappointment. That is all right. You do not have to erase all of that in one day. But you can begin to offer yourself a new truth. Life is not only what hurt me. Love is not only what left. My story is not only made of pain. There is also guidance. There is also support. There is also timing. There is also meaning. There is also beauty still trying to find me. There is also a future that has not yet opened. There is also healing happening where I cannot yet see it. This is the kind of truth the soul can breathe inside. The more you hold this spiritual view, the more peace becomes possible. You stop trying to force every flower to bloom before its time. You stop calling every pause a failure. You stop making every hard chapter mean that your life is off course. You begin to trust the unfolding. You begin to trust that growth can happen quietly. You begin to trust that love can still be present in mystery. You begin to trust that there is intelligence in life deeper than your fear. And from that trust, the heart begins to rest. So if today feels heavy, let this be your reframe. You are not being punished. You are in process. You are not forgotten. You are still held. You are not too late. You are still unfolding. You are not alone in the dark. There is still a light within you that knows how to wait, how to trust, how to heal, how to become. Even now your soul is learning. Even now your life is moving. Even now something meaningful may be taking shape in places your mind has not yet seen. Take a slow breath now and let this moment become quieter inside you. There is nothing you need to solve right now. Nothing you need to prove. Nothing you need to fix before you can soften. Just let yourself arrive here. Let your body feel the place where you are sitting or resting. Feel the support beneath you. Feel the weight of your body being held. Let that simple feeling remind you that you do not have to hold everything up on your own in this moment. You can rest a little. You can let yourself be supported a little. You can let the breath come and go without trying to change it too much. Just notice it. Notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. Notice that life is still moving through you gently and quietly. If it feels right, place your hand over your heart. Not as a performance, not as a technique you must do perfectly, just as a small act of closeness. A small sign to yourself that you are willing to stay near your own heart. Feel the warmth of your hand there. Feel the rise and fall beneath it. Even if your breath is uneven, even if your chest feels heavy, even if your feelings are hard to name, stay with that warmth for a moment. Let it say something simple without words. I am here. I am not leaving. I am listening. Now imagine that beneath your hand there is a gentle light. It does not have to be bright. It does not have to be dramatic. Just a soft, warm light in the center of your chest. A quiet, golden glow. A peaceful light like the first light of morning. This light is not something you have to create from nothing. It has always been there. It may have been covered by stress, fear, pain, or exhaustion, but it is still there. This light is the part of you that remains whole. The part of you that remembers peace. The part of you that knows how to soften. The part of you that is still worthy, still lovable, still enough. Let yourself picture that light gently glowing beneath your hand. As you breathe in, imagine that light growing just a little warmer. As you breathe out, imagine the tightness in your body beginning to loosen. No force, no pressure, just a gentle softening. With each inhale, The light spreads a little more through your chest. With each exhale, the body releases a little more of what it does not need to grip so tightly. Maybe the shoulders drop a little, maybe the jaw softens, maybe the stomach unclenches just a bit. Maybe the breath grows deeper without effort. Let it happen naturally. Let your body know it does not have to stay in defense for these next few moments. Now imagine that any old pain you have been carrying is gathered in front of you, not as something scary, but as something you can finally see with honesty. Perhaps it looks like a weight, a stone, a bundle, a cloud, a tired heaviness. There is no need to force it away. Just notice it. Notice that you have bull in carrying something for a long time. Notice how long you have been trying to hold it together. Notice how much effort has gone into surviving what the heart has felt. And instead of judging yourself for that, let yourself feel a little compassion. Of course you are tired. Of course you have needed tenderness. Of course your heart has been asking for peace. Take another slow breath and imagine the warm light in your chest becoming large enough to touch that heaviness in front of you. Not to destroy it, not to fight it, just to meet it with calm. Let the light touch the old pain gently. Let it say, I see you. Let it say, you do not have to prove anything here. Let it say, I am ready to stop carrying you in the same way. Sometimes healing begins not when pain disappears, but when it is finally met without fear. When it is finally seen without shame, when it is finally held with enough gentleness that it no longer has to shout. Now imagine that with each breath, the heaviness becomes a little lighter. Not because you are forcing it to leave, but because you are no longer gripping it with the same fear. The light keeps growing. It moves through your chest, into your shoulders, down your arms, into your hands. It moves into your throat, softening the words you never got to say. It moves into your stomach, easing the place where worry has lived. It moves into your back, into the places that have carried invisible burdens. It moves into your face, your eyes, your forehead, the places that have stayed alert for too long. This light knows where to go. You do not have to guide every part of it. Just let it move. Imagine now that you are sitting in a peaceful place within yourself, a quiet inner place, safe, warm, calm. It may feel like a garden, a field, a room filled with soft light, or simply an open stillness. It does not matter what it looks like exactly. What matters is the feeling. Safety, spaciousness, rest. This is a place within you that you can return to. A place where the noise grows softer. A place where your heart can breathe. a place where you do not need to hide your tenderness. Let yourself sit there for a moment. Let yourself feel what it is like to be with yourself without pressure. In this peaceful inner place, imagine that your tired heart can finally speak honestly, not to explain itself, not to defend itself, just to be heard. Maybe it says, I am tired of being hard on myself. Maybe it says, I want to feel safe. Maybe it says, I have been carrying too much. Maybe it says, I want peace. Maybe it says, I want to believe I am enough. Whatever rises, let it rise gently. You do not have to fix the feeling. You do not have to make it sound wise. Just let the truth of your heart be simple. Let it be real. And then let the warm light answer. Let it answer with kindness. Let it answer with softness. Let it answer with the truth your spirit most needs. Perhaps the answer is, you are safe here. Perhaps it is, you do not have to carry this alone. Perhaps it is, you are already enough. Perhaps it is, you can rest now. Perhaps it is, healing is allowed. Perhaps it is simply, I am with you. Let the answer be received, not forced. Let it settle into the parts of you that have been waiting to hear something loving for a very long time. Take another breath and imagine yourself placing down one old burden. Just one, not all of them. Just one thing you no longer want to grip so tightly. Maybe it is guilt. Maybe it is pressure. Maybe it is self-blame. Maybe it is the fear of not being enough. Picture yourself setting it down beside you in this peaceful inner place. See that nothing terrible happens when you release your grip. See that the ground can hold what you no longer need to carry alone. See that your hands become lighter when they are no longer wrapped around old pain. Let your body notice that. Let your chest notice that. Let your breath notice that. Now say quietly within yourself, I am safe to soften. Say it again slowly, I am safe to soften. Let those words move through your body like warm water. Let them reach the places that usually stay guarded. Let them reach the places that expect pressure. Let them reach the part of you that still waits for harshness. I am safe to soften. I do not have to fight myself right now. I do not have to prove my worth right now. I do not have to carry everything right now. I am safe to soften. Stay here for another breath. Feel your hand on your heart if it is still there. Feel the warmth. Feel the quiet. Feel the light. Even if your mind wanders, simply return. Even if emotion rises, simply breathe. Even if you do not know exactly what you feel, simply stay near yourself. This moment is not about doing it right. It is about letting yourself be met. It is about showing your own heart that you can be gentle now, that you can stay, that you can create a little space inside where healing can begin to breathe. And before you move on, let one simple truth settle inside you. There is a peaceful place within you that still exists no matter what you have been through. There is a light in you that pain did not destroy. There is a softness in you that fear did not erase. There is a stillness in you that can be returned to. You may have forgotten it. You may have lost touch with it for a while, but it is still there. And each time you pause like this, each time you breathe like this, each time you place your hand on your heart and listen instead of judge, you make the path back to that place a little clearer. Now that your heart has slowed down a little, now that your breath has become softer, now that you have allowed even a small space for peace to enter, this is the moment to plant new words inside your inner world. Words matter. The words you repeat become the atmosphere you live in. The words you speak to yourself become the ground your healing grows from. If you speak to yourself in fear, your body learns fear. If you speak to yourself in pressure, your body learns pressure. But if you speak to yourself in peace, in kindness, in truth, then slowly, gently, your whole being begins to learn a new way to live. This is why affirmations can be so healing. Not because they erase pain in one moment, but because they begin to replace the old voice of hurt with a new voice of love. So let these words come in slowly. You do not need to force yourself to believe every word right away. You do not need to say them with perfect confidence. You only need to be willing to let them enter. Even a small opening is enough. Even a quiet willingness is enough. The heart learns through repetition. The body learns through repetition. The mind begins to soften when it hears something loving often enough. And so we begin gently, with simple truths your soul may have been waiting to hear for a very long time. I am enough. Let that be the first truth. Not because everything is finished, not because every wound is gone, not because life is suddenly easy. I am enough because my worth does not depend on perfection. I am enough because my value is not something I must earn. I am enough because I exist. I am enough because I am alive in this moment. I am enough even while I heal. I am enough even while I learn. I am enough even while I still carry tenderness. Let this truth land where it can. You are enough now. Not one day, not later. Now, I am safe to heal. For some hearts, healing itself feels frightening because pain has been familiar for so long. But you are safe to heal, safe to soften, safe to let the old walls come down a little, safe to release what has been pressing on your spirit, safe to imagine a life that does not hurt in the same way forever, safe to stop bracing for a moment. safe to believe that peace can enter. Healing is not here to harm you. Healing is here to bring you back to yourself. So whisper gently inside, I am safe to heal. Let your body hear it. Let your chest hear it. Let your nervous system hear it. I am safe to heal. I let go of old pain, not all at once, not with force, but gently, breath by breath, moment by moment. I let go of old pain. I let go of carrying it in the same way. I let go of making it my whole identity. I let go of believing it must stay forever. I let go of giving it the power to define my worth. I let go of the fear that healing means I must forget. I let go of the belief that holding on to pain is the only way to honor what I have been through. I can honor my story without living under all of its weight. I let go of old pain. I choose peace. This is a powerful truth because it reminds the heart that peace is not always something that arrives from outside. Sometimes peace begins as an inner choice, not a denial of what hurts, but a decision about how you will hold yourself through it. I choose peace in the way I breathe. I choose peace in the way I speak to myself. I choose peace in the way I release what I cannot control. I choose peace in the way I stop repeating harsh old thoughts. I choose peace in the way I let this moment be enough. Even in uncertainty, I choose peace. Even in healing, I choose peace. Even while becoming, I choose peace. I am worthy of love, not only when I am strong, not only when I am useful, not only when I am at my best, not only when I make no mistakes. I am worthy of love now, worthy of love in my softness, worthy of love in my healing, worthy of love in my tears, worthy of love in my quietness, worthy of love in the parts of me that are still learning how to trust, worthy of love in the parts of me that still feel afraid. Love is not something I must win. Love is something I am allowed to receive. I am worthy of love. I forgive myself. These words may take time, and that is all right. Let them arrive slowly. I forgive myself for the ways I survived. I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. I forgive myself for the times I stayed too long in pain because I was afraid. I forgive myself for the ways I tried to protect my heart. I forgive myself for not always being gentle with my own spirit. I forgive myself for carrying shame that was never meant to become my home. I forgive myself, not because the past did not matter, but because I do not want to keep punishing myself forever. I forgive myself because I deserve peace too. I open my heart to healing. This is a beautiful affirmation because it does not demand that the healing be finished right now. It only opens the door. It only says yes. Yes to softness. Yes to truth. Yes to love. Yes to rest. Yes to becoming lighter. Yes to new thoughts. Yes to a gentler life. I open my heart to healing, even if only a little today. I open my heart to healing, even if some part of me still feels unsure. I open my heart to healing because I no longer want fear to guide everything. I open my heart to healing because I am ready for a new inner life. I am learning to be kind to myself. This one matters deeply because healing often grows where kindness becomes steady. I am learning to pause before harshness. I am learning to listen before I judge. I am learning to hold my own heart with care. I am learning that I do not need to be perfect to deserve softness. I am learning that the way I speak to myself changes everything. I am learning to make my inner voice a place where peace can stay. I am learning to be kind to myself, and that learning is sacred. I release the need to be perfect. Perfection has been a heavy burden for many hearts. It has kept people tense, afraid, and far from rest. But perfection is not the path to peace. Love is, truth is, presence is. So let this be a deep exhale inside you. I release the need to get everything right. I release the pressure to heal in a perfect way. I release the belief that one mistake changes my worth. I release the idea that I must become flawless before I can belong to myself. I release the need to be perfect, and I allow myself to be human. I trust that healing is happening within me, even when I do not see every change, even when the process feels quiet, even when old feelings still rise. Healing can still be happening. Roots grow in silence. Seeds grow in darkness. Many beautiful things begin where the eye cannot yet see them. So I trust that something good is happening within me. I trust that my heart is learning. I trust that my body is listening. I trust that my spirit is moving toward peace in its own wise rhythm. Man, I trust that healing is happening within me. I deserve rest. So many people believe they must finish everything before they are allowed to breathe. But rest is not a prize for exhaustion. Rest is part of healing. Rest is how the body repairs. Rest is how the spirit remembers itself. Rest is not laziness. Rest is care. So let these words come in gently. I deserve rest. I deserve to pause. I deserve to stop carrying everything for a while. I deserve to soften without guilt. I deserve to be held by peace. I deserve rest. I am loved, guided, and supported. Even when I feel uncertain, even when the future is unclear, even when I cannot hear the answers yet, love has not left me. Life has not abandoned me. Support can still be present in unseen ways. Guidance can still be moving quietly. I am loved, guided, and supported. Let that truth bring warmth to your chest. Let it ease the fear that says you are alone in this. Let it remind you that your life is still being held by something deeper than panic. Now let these affirmations flow together like a gentle stream within you. I am enough. I am safe to heal. I let go of old pain. I choose peace. I am worthy of love. I forgive myself. I open my heart to healing. I am learning to be kind to myself. I release the need to be perfect. I trust that healing is happening within me. I deserve rest. I am loved, guided, and supported. Let them move through you slowly. Let them settle where they can. Let them become less like sentences and more like medicine, not rushed, not forced, just received. And if one affirmation touches you more deeply than the others, stay with that one. Let it repeat softly in your mind. Let it become your anchor. Let it become your prayer. Let it become the truth you return to whenever fear grows loud again. One loving truth repeated often enough can change the whole atmosphere of a life. One gentle sentence can become the beginning of a new relationship with yourself. One affirmation can open a door that shame kept closed for years. So do not worry about doing this perfectly. Just let the words come. Let them bless the places in you that have been waiting for kindness. Let them water the parts of you that have felt dry from too much self-doubt. Let them bring warmth into the rooms of your heart that have felt cold for too long. The heart does not always change in one moment. Sometimes it changes the way the earth changes at dawn, slowly, quietly, with light entering little by little until the darkness is no longer in charge of the whole sky. That is why repetition matters. Repetition is not because you are failing to understand. Repetition is how healing enters more deeply. Repetition is how the mind learns a new path. Repetition is how the body begins to trust what once felt unfamiliar. Repetition is how a loving truth moves from the surface down into the deeper places where old pain has been living for a long time. You may need to hear, "I am enough," many times before the part of you shaped by old wounds fully believes it. That is not weakness. That is how repair works. If you ard criticism over and over, then of course kindness may need to be heard over and over too. If you learned fear through repetition, then peace can also be learned through repetition. If the old story was repeated until it felt true, then the new story can also become true in your inner world through loving repetition. So stay with the truth. Return to it. Let it come again. I am enough. I am enough now. I am enough here. I am enough in this season. I am enough even while healing. I am enough even while still becoming. Sometimes the first time you hear a loving affirmation, your mind argues. It says, "That cannot be true." It says, "Maybe for other people, but not for me." It says, "You do not know my story." It says, "I have too much pain, too many mistakes, too much fear, too much unfinished healing." But this is exactly why repetition matters. The loving truth does not need to fight the old voice. It simply stays, calmly, gently, again and again. It returns like a faithful friend. It returns like a hand on the heart. It returns like soft rain falling on dry ground. I am enough. I am safe to heal. I am worthy of love. I forgive myself. I choose peace. Over time, what was once resisted begins to soften. What once felt impossible begins to feel possible. What once felt false begins to feel familiar. There is great power in hearing the same truth in slightly different ways. The heart responds to this. It opens to this. So let the message deepen now. You are enough, not because you never struggle, but because struggle does not cancel your worth. You are enough, not because you have no wounds, but because wounds do not erase the truth of who you are. You are enough, not because life has always treated you gently, but because your value was never decided by the pain you faced. You are enough, not because you have done everything right, but because your heart remains precious even in imperfect seasons. You are enough, not because others finally see it, but because it has always been true beneath every doubt. You are safe to heal, safe to release, safe to let the old defenses rest a little, safe to trust that peace will not harm you, safe to let yourself feel better, safe to stop carrying so much alone, safe to believe that the next chapter of your life does not have to hurt in the same way the last one did. Safe to imagine a softer way of living, safe to let tenderness enter your body, safe to let your heart breathe, safe to be in process, safe to not have every answer right now, safe to heal. You are worthy of love, worthy when you are quiet, worthy when you are tired, worthy when you are uncertain, worthy when you are rebuilding, worthy when you are not shining your brightest, worthy when you need support, worthy when you do not have all the words, worthy when you are still learning to trust, worthy when your hands are empty, worthy when your heart is tender, worthy when your spirit feels small and needs reminding, worthy not because you prove anything, but because love belongs with you. You are allowed to let go of what no longer serves your peace, allowed to stop repeating old pain, allowed to stop making your wounds your only language, allowed to stop expecting yourself to carry every burden forever, allowed to stop living beneath the weight of self-judgment, allowed to release guilt that has stayed too long, allowed to release shame that was never your true home, allowed to release the pressure to be someone other than who you are in this moment, allowed to release and still be whole. Feel how repetition works, not by force, but by gentle return. It returns the same truth until the body starts to relax around it. It returns the same truth until the heart stops fighting it. It returns the same truth until the inner world begins to make room for it. So let the words come again. I am enough. I am enough now. I am enough as I am. I am safe to heal. I am safe to soften. I am safe to rest. I am worthy of love. I am worthy now. I do not have to earn peace. I choose peace. I choose it in my breath. I choose it in my thoughts. I choose it in the way I hold myself today. Sometimes deeper belief is not loud. Sometimes you do not feel a dramatic shift. Sometimes what happens is very quiet. Your shoulders drop a little. Your chest softens a little. Your thoughts become less sharp. Your body feels less guarded. Your breath moves more freely. A sentence that once felt impossible suddenly feels a little more believable. A harsh thought that once ruled your inner world loses some of its power. A little space appears between you and the old story. That is healing too. That is how new belief begins. Not always as a thunderclap, but often as a gentle turning. There may still be parts of you that feel unconvinced. That is all right. You do not need every part of you to fully agree all at once. You only need enough openness to keep going, enough openness to hear the truth again, enough openness to let it settle, enough openness to say, maybe I do not fully feel this yet, but I am willing to keep listening. That willingness is sacred. That willingness is how the walls begin to loosen. That willingness is how old fear loses its grip. That willingness is how a new inner life begins. So stay with the loving message long enough for it to reach beyond the surface. Let it move past the mind that argues and into the body that has been waiting to feel safe. Let it move into the nervous system that has been bracing for too long. Let it move into the heart that has grown tired of carrying pain without comfort. Let it move into the quiet places that still ache from old rejection. Let it move into the hidden places that have not yet known enough gentleness. Let it move deeply. Let it repeat. Let it stay. I am enough. I do not need to become someone else to deserve peace. I am enough. I do not need to prove my worth before I can rest. I am enough. I do not need to wait until the healing is finished to be lovable. I am enough. I do not need to punish myself to grow. I am enough. I can be tender and still be strong. I am enough. I can be healing and still be whole. I am enough. I am safe to heal, safe to take my time, safe to move slowly, safe to release what is ready to go, safe to keep what still needs compassion, safe to not understand everything yet, safe to let this journey unfold, safe to believe that a softer life is possible, safe to meet my own heart with kindness, safe to heal. I choose peace. Not because nothing hurts, but because I do not want to keep hurting myself. I choose peace in the way I breathe. I choose peace in the way I pause. I choose peace in the way I speak inwardly. I choose peace in the way I stop making every hard moment mean something cruel about my worth. I choose peace in the way I return to love again and again. I choose peace. Let these repetitions become more than words. Let them become the rhythm of your healing. Let them become the quiet pulse beneath your day. Let them come back when fear returns. Let them come back when shame tries to rise. Let them come back when old sadness wants to become identity again. Let them come back when you forget. Because forgetting happens. That is part of being human. And remembering is part of healing. Repetition is simply remembering with love. As this gentle time begins to settle, let yourself feel how much softer your inner world has become. You do not need to measure it. You do not need to test it. Just notice. Maybe your breath is easier now. Maybe your shoulders feel a little lighter. Maybe your thoughts are not as loud. Maybe your chest feels a little more open. Maybe your heart simply feels heard. That is enough. Healing does not always arrive in dramatic ways. Sometimes it arrives as relief. Sometimes it arrives as quiet. Sometimes it arrives as a little less fear than before. Sometimes it arrives as the simple feeling that you do not have to fight yourself so hard anymore. You do not have to carry everything alone. Let that truth stay close to you now. So many people go through life holding invisible weight and pretending it is not heavy. They smile while hurting. They keep going while exhausted. They stay strong while their spirit begs for softness. They become so used to carrying everything inside that they forget what it feels like to be held by peace. But you were never meant to carry every burden forever. You were never meant to live with your heart clenched all the time. You were never meant to heal through pressure alone. There is support for you. There is rest for you. There is a softer way for your life to feel. Even if the future is not fully clear, you are still supported. Even if there are still questions, you are still guided. Even if some wounds are still tender, you are still healing. Do not let one difficult season convince you that nothing good is happening within you. Do not let one hard emotion make you doubt the whole path. Healing often moves in quiet ways. It continues beneath the surface. It keeps working through your breaths, your choices, your prayers, your pauses, your return to kindness. You do not need to see every root growing beneath the soil to trust that life is still at work. There is comfort in remembering that your healing does not have to be rushed. You are allowed to take your time. Allowed to have good days and heavy days. Allowed to feel peace one moment and tenderness the next. Allowed to need reminding. Allowed to return to the same truth more than once. Allowed to begin again as many times as needed. Healing is not a straight path. It is a living path. It moves in circles sometimes. It deepens in layers. It asks for patience. It asks for compassion. It asks for trust. And every time you choose not to abandon yourself on that path, you are already doing something beautiful. If the old fears return later, that does not mean you have failed. If sadness rises again, that does not erase what is healing. If you forget these truths and need to hear them once more, that does not mean you are back at the beginning. It simply means you are human. And being human is not a flaw in your healing. It is the very place where healing learns to become real. So when old feelings come, meet them with the same gentleness you found here. Do not panic. Do not punish. Do not tell yourself you should be beyond this. Simply return. Return to the breath. Return to your heart. Return to the truth. Return to the words that remind you who you are beneath the fear. You are not broken. That truth deserves to be held gently and clearly. You are not broken because you have wounds. You are not broken because you have carried pain. You are not broken because you are still healing. You are not broken because some days are harder than others. You are not broken because your heart has known sorrow. You are not broken because you need rest. You are a human being with a tender spirit, learning how to live with more love, more truth, and more peace. That is not brokenness. That is becoming. You are loved, even if you do not always feel it, even if life has not always shown it well, even if your own inner voice has forgotten how to say it. You are loved. There is a love deeper than performance, deeper than perfection, deeper than approval. A quiet love that remains with you. A steady love that does not leave because you are still healing. A gentle love that can meet you right here. Let yourself feel that for a moment. Not as an idea, but as warmth, as comfort, as a soft place inside your chest that says, I am held. I am not alone. I am still worthy of tenderness. You are supported. Supported by the breath moving through you. Supported by the life that still rises in your body each day. Supported by the quiet wisdom within your spirit. Supported by every moment that brings you back to truth. Supported by the unseen ways healing continues beneath the surface. Supported by the love you are learning to give yourself now. Supported not only when things are easy, but also in the uncertain places. Supported when you rest. Supported when you cry. Supported when you begin again. Supported when all you can do is place your hand on your heart and breathe. And perhaps most of all, you are not behind. Your healing has its own timing. Your peace has its own rhythm. Your soul does not compare itself to the speed of others. It moves the way it needs to move. Slowly when necessary, quietly when necessary, deeply in its own way. So release the idea that you should be somewhere else by now. Release the fear that you missed your chance. Release the pressure to bloom on someone else's schedule. You are not late to your own becoming. You are not late to peace. You are not late to self-love. You are not late to healing. You are right where you need to be for this moment to touch you. Let that bring some reassurance to your spirit. Let it settle the restless part of you that always feels behind. Let it soften the anxious part of you that fears time has been lost. Life is still with you. Growth is still with you. Healing is still with you. And this moment, right here, can still change something quiet and important within you. Never underestimate the power of one soft moment of truth. Never underestimate the power of one breath taken without fear. Never underestimate the power of one loving sentence repeated enough times. Never underestimate the peace that begins when you stop fighting yourself and start staying close to your own heart. So rest in that now. Rest in the knowing that you do not need to do more right this moment. Rest in the knowing that your worth is not on trial. Rest in the knowing that your tenderness is not too much. Rest in the knowing that peace is allowed to touch you. Rest in the knowing that healing is already moving. Rest in the knowing that you are enough. Let your spirit be comforted by that truth. Let your body hear it. Let your heart believe it a little more. Let this softness stay with you longer than fear does. Let this reassurance become a place you can return to again and again. Now let these final words settle into you slowly, like warm light at the end of a long day. You do not need to reach for them. You only need to receive them. You are enough. You have always been enough. Even in the moments you doubted it. Even in the seasons you forgot it. Even in the years when pain spoke louder than truth. You are enough. Not because you have done everything perfectly. Not because your healing is complete. Not because life has answered every question. You are enough because your worth lives deeper than all of that. It has always lived deeper than all of that. You are safe to heal, safe to soften, safe to breathe without bracing, safe to let old walls come down a little, safe to feel peace without waiting for permission, safe to believe that your heart can know a gentler life, safe to trust that love can enter the places where fear has lived for too long, safe to release what no longer belongs in your spirit, safe to rest. You are worthy of love, worthy of the love you give yourself, worthy of the kindness you are learning to speak inwardly, worthy of the peace that is slowly finding its way back into your body, worthy of tenderness, worthy of rest, worthy of healing, worthy now. not someday, not after everything changes. Now, you forgive yourself. You release the old weight little by little. You let go of the need to punish yourself for being human. You let go of the belief that you must carry every old pain forever. You let go of the harsh voice that told you healing had to hurt to be real. You choose a softer truth now. You choose to hold yourself with compassion. You choose to make room for peace. You choose peace. Peace in your breath. Peace in your body. Peace in your thoughts. Peace in the way you return to yourself. Peace in the way you stop measuring your worth by your hardest days. Peace in the way you let this moment be enough. Peace in the way you trust that healing is still unfolding within you. Peace in the way you allow life to hold you for a while. So let the final truth come close now, simple and clear. You are enough. You are safe. You are loved. You are healing. You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of a softer life. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to heal gently. You are allowed to believe in your own worth. You are allowed to stop fighting yourself. You are allowed to come home to your own heart. And if you carry only one truth with you from this moment, let it be this. You are enough, right now, in this breath, in this season, in this life. You are enough. As this time comes to a close, let your heart stay quiet for one more moment and simply receive what has already been planted within you. Something gentle has shifted. Something soft has opened. Something true has been remembered. You do not need to hold on to every word perfectly. You do not need to leave this moment changed in a dramatic way. You only need to carry one little thread of truth with you. One little thread of peace. One little thread of kindness. That is enough. That is how healing continues. Take one slow breath and let it be a blessing to your whole being. Breathe in peace. Breathe out pressure. Breathe in love. Breathe out the old need to prove. Breathe in the truth that you are worthy now. Breathe out the old story that said otherwise. Let your body feel that. Let your heart rest in that. And as you move forward from here, may you remember this when fear rises, when old pain speaks, when self-judgment returns, when life feels heavy. Return to your heart. Return to your breath. Return to the gentle truth that your worth has not been lost. Return to the knowing that healing is not far away. Return to the words that bring you home. You are enough. You are loved. You are safe to heal. Let that truth stay with you like a quiet light. Let it move with you into your next moment, your next breath, your next day. Let it remind you that even in tenderness, even in uncertainty, even in healing, you are still whole in the deepest way that matters. And all that remains now is to rest in that truth and let it keep unfolding within you.